athletics, but I know you watch a lot of college football. What are your thoughts right now about the various things with yet another summer of whatever the unknown when it comes to what USC, UCLA did, and now the questions about what will the Big 12 do, which I think they're going to have obviously some good news near future. What are your thoughts about what's going on?
There's nothing wrong with being the number 3 conference, and I think it's amazing the turnaround they've made since all the gloom and doom predictions when the Longhorns and Sooners went into the SEC or agreed to go in the SEC. I was in Austin on Tuesday with a friend of mine, Jim Mattress Mac McInville, our world-renowned gambler and furniture salesman, who's a big Longhorn fan. He had us see his new sign in the stadium and record a commercial to run on their Jumbotron, and they gave us a tour of all the facilities, and we're walking through it, and I'm looking at it, and I told a friend of mine who did not go to UT behind me, I said, all this, and they still didn't get one player drafted. And it's amazing to me. The Longhorns, of course, they always do it for the money. TV dictates everything. Anybody thinking that schools dictate it? No. TV tells them what to do. If TV decides they want those 4 schools in the Big 12, they'll be in the Big 12. If they want the 6 Pac-12 schools to come, there'll be 6. It's all based on what television wants because of the money. The one thing that I think is they need guidelines. They need guidelines on the NILs, and they need guidelines on the transfer portal. You know, coach chews you out, boom, you're in the transfer portal. I believe I'm all for players getting paid, and I'm all for players having options, but I don't think you should be randomly able to transfer every year like a mercenary, give you one freebie where you can transfer and play immediately. But boy, if you do it again, you got to sit out like the old rules.
John, that's like the NFL was in the 20s, where you could play one day for Canton and then go across the street because you were on kind of a handshake deal for $8 a game and go make $12 for Chicago. I mean, it was chaos then, and they had to regulate it.
Yeah, but back then nobody knew who was getting what, and they used pseudonyms. Can you imagine, say you guys were all free agents from other schools, and Craig wanted $5 million and David wanted $3 million, and Paul, you only got $500,000, but Paul turned out to be the best player. Well, boy, and Paul plays and Craig and David don't, and Craig and David are going to pout and whine and go in the portal because I make more money than Paul and he's starting ahead of me. It is so hard today for coaches and athletic directors, considering what they're having to deal with, like A&M having a record number of 5-star recruits. I can't wait to see how many actually stay there, assuming nobody gets arrested.
John, how do you think that? I mean, do you think it really changes how prepared and mature players will be in entering the NFL? I mean, I know you got hundreds of guys. So there's going to be cases of every type, you know, ready for the grind and the business part of it or not. But with players in college now having a lot more of that business side front and center and legal and everything, but also having just complete free reign, when they get to the NFL, the money's going to be, I guess, better, but not totally different from what some of these guys have made, or at least they'll have experience making it. But then on the other side, the rules are going to feel like they're getting tied up because they don't have free reign. They have contracts. I mean, how much of a rude awakening, but also a easier transition do you think it will be for the college athlete based on everything going on right now?
First of all, Craig, these guys getting these NILs need to worry about 3 letters, and it's not NFL, it's IRS. Because if you're promoting, like Bijan Robinson, I'm told it's not his Lamborghini, it's on loan, which is smart, because if somebody gave it to him, he's going to be paying taxes at some point on a $175,000 car. Others are bragging that it's been given to them, and they're going to have to pay the piper like the rest of us do. And one thing to keep in mind, I saw the Pitt receiver transferred to USC. I can't remember what he got. Maybe it's $3 million. How many NFL receivers make less this season than he will? And then he'll be a high number 1 pick. But what if you get a big NIL in college and then you're a 6th-round pick, or you're like Abram Smith? You're an undrafted free agent, and all of a sudden you go from $2 million NIL to making a minimum, and you're like, whoa, what happened here?
You know, you mentioned the IRS, and I wrote a big-ass check, man, I'm telling you, this year. because of how our setup is. And I really do hope to God that the college athletes are getting some sort of at least education about that, if anything, because they're about to get stunned with what it's going to cost if they don't protect at least or put back some money in the end. It's going to be bad.
And it's amazing to me how powerless the NCAA is right now.
That's a great point.
John, John, I said earlier in the show, they used to have rules about cream cheese. Like, so many rules, they would say you can't have cream cheese for recruiting. You can only have this kind of peanut butter and jelly, no ketchup for the French fries, all that stuff. And now, like, there's 4 total rules, maybe?
They don't even know how to spell rules, much less go by rules. And that's why somebody with influence and power needs to step up and put out some guidelines. But then there'll be cheating like there's always been. So it doesn't lessen the impact of college football. I can't wait for the season, can't wait for Baylor's season.